Hi, it's Lynn from LynnieCDesigns. Thanks for joining me today. I'm an independent Stampin' Up demonstrator based in West Sussex in the UK, and I'm coming on to share this card. It featured at the end of my last video, which I'll put a link up here, where I created a card using the negative of this bit, but I had these bits left over and I thought I would create a project for my card class early in August, and that's what I made. So if I run through the sets that I've used, it is using, there's only a little bit of stamping. The sentiment on this one was from, now can I remember, Circle Sayings, Happy Birthday. But today I'm just going to use the Timeless Arrangements stamp set. So I've got a couple of sentiments that I'm going to put together, and that's the beauty of this. And this lovely floral stamp. Then we've got the beautiful Timeless Arrangements dies. Now these are lovely because they cut out the foliages, plus you've got some really pretty frames with some added detail, and then you've got the dies that cut out the various bits of foliage. Now there are, what does it say in there? I think there are 16 dies in all on that one, which is fabulous. And then I've got a little bit of embossing, and I used the Quatrefoil Tile embossing folder, which is really beautiful. So this is the sort of pack that I give my ladies, that my lot that come to class. We've got an envelope, which I always like to stamp or do something with. We've got a thick basic white base. That's half a sheet of A4 scored in the middle. We've got a layer of basic white, normal basic white, and that's the bit that I'm going to emboss. I've got this label, that label there, and they are made with the Countryside Corners dies. So these are fabulous. You get, how many are there in there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 dies. Yeah, 7 dies. That does go with a stamp set which I haven't shared any projects with you yet, called Countryside Corners, and it's just beautiful. Look at that. You can stamp all of that and then cut each of those individual frames out, or you can just colour one. Very versatile. So I shall share projects with that, but I use those to make the labels. And then I've got a little thin strip of what's the colour? This is Lost Lagoon, and those are my colours that I'm using. I've got Soft Sea Foam, Lost Lagoon and Berry Burst. So shall we just get on with it? Yes, let's just get on with it. I'm going to very quickly emboss this, and I thought actually just to change this up, this is a nice little do you call that horizontal card? That's portrait, landscape. I thought I'd change the orientation just to see what it looks like. So I shall put you on hold and do my embossing. So here we go. Both of these are just beautiful. So much texture. They're really pretty actually, the embossed side and the debossed side, but I'm going to keep those like that. And I always try and do all the die cutting because places are quite limited in my classes, and I like to spoil everybody, so I did all the cutting. I've got caught up in the bag. Now I did it all out of white card, and then I thought I added the colour with a water painter, and I'll show you the easiest way. You could very easily use a marker, or even colour the cardstock with the ink pads and then die cut them. But I decided that I wanted to add a little bit of colour just to get a slight variation. Now on my first card I used this label. This one I'm going to use this label, and you can see it's got dots and little crosses on the around the edge, and I love that detail. We've got some beautiful dies. Let me just get a little scrap of card. That scrap of card. Honestly, sometimes when I get on camera I can't speak if I lose my words. So soft sea foam, Lost Lagoon, and Berry Burst. I've got 3 little blocks here. Well, that's very juicy, that Lost Lagoon. It's new to me. And I've got my little water painter or my aqua brush and some water. And I find that this works just as well. I'm going to start with light. And this is normal cardstock, so I don't want to get it too wet, because it can pill and warp. But I'll just clean that off in between. That's the only bit of the light that I'm going to do, I think. And then I'm going to come in with the darker colour and just colour those. Get them a little bit wet. And I can just leave these to dry. Let's just do a little bit. These will dry lighter anyway, as you know. That one a little bit darker. Dry it off in between. And then we've got some little individual ones as well. Pop that one up there. There we go. And we've got these little ones here. Hopefully I'm doing this all on camera and I remember to take you off mute. That would have been awful, wouldn't it? Hey? I've done that before in videos. Let's pop that dust down there. There we go. Now I could have used watercolour paper, but I decided against it. Now this I want to, I'm going to see if I've got any, just to colour that, try and water that down a bit, because they're very dark, Berry Burst. Let me just take a pick tool. Might be a bit wet. Oh, see, that's very dark, that one. Hopefully that'll dry. Very rich colour. And I'm doing this bit because that's a little corner piece. I'm not worrying about this bit, because that will be hidden. Oops. A bit more dark there. So that's the beauty. If you stay light, you can then come back in and add a little bit of dark. See how they dry. Paying far too much attention to those. Let them dry off. We'll clean our brush off. You just need to keep going until you get the colour off of there. Now that's my only ink colour, so I'm going to actually clean those off while I, so that I don't get, oh, see, there we are. I may have to go and wash my hands, because I did that the other day. I was making a card, and I think I had berry burst off to the side. I was doing something, multitasking, not doing a very good job, and got it all over my project, but I managed to hide the splodge with a gem. It's not a mistake, it's a happy accident, I always say. So I'll pop that off to one side. Hopefully I'll be able to find that in a little bit. The tiny little bit of stamping, I'm going to use some Memento ink, and I've got this lovely little floral image. I'll do 3 of those. I'm going to stamp that one again because I didn't like that one. And then, yes, I've got the slightly bigger label here. I'm going to put thanks. Hopefully this is going to work. From the bottom of my heart, I like that. We can clean those off. Just going to add a little bit of colour with my blends, and this is Lost Lagoon. Very tiny, so I don't know that I'm gonna. I've used the light, so I could just come in and do a touch of dark at the base there, and then berry burst. Leaving a little white space at the top of each of those. And we're going to come in and just do a very tiny bit dark. Oh, you can see there, tiny little bit. Put the lid on there and messed it up. I'm going to actually blend the edges there. This is very pale, so this is the light petal pink. Just dragging that into the tips. Nice. Like those. I'm just going to use this, and I shall die cut these quickly. Okay, so I rushed those, but a tip, I didn't cut that very well, and the reason being there's a bit of paper in that bit there. There's a little hole in this die, and if you make sure that you can see the stem through there, which I didn't on that one, it cuts it perfectly. So anyway, I've got those three, so I've coloured those, and then let's just put this together. I did this because I didn't have any ribbon of the colour that I wanted, Lost Lagoon. But what I ended up doing is I ended up trying to split it. I'm not going to do it on my original one. I wet it and then split it so it's a little bit thinner, but I shan't do that now for you. I'm just going to add that on, and then we can trim that off. So let me just try and get that so that it is in the middle ish. I'm not going to see very much of it, so I'm not going to worry about doing what I did on the other one, but I might show you. That was a tip that I got from the lovely Michaela Titheridge, who's on the design team, artisan design team. She's a very talented crafter. So that's going to go on there, so you can barely see any of that, but it's just quite a nice little pop of colour. I'm going to work on, hopefully these will all be dry now, my little bits of flora. So I'm going to pop some glue on the frame. I'm going to pop that there. So I just think these are genius. I keep the glue on there. Get my little silicone mat, and then it doesn't matter if I get glue everywhere, it won't ruin. And then these, I'm going to glue that there. So let's put a bit of glue. Do that there. On there. Lovely. And then I'm just going to use some glue dots. Shut the door so my hubby doesn't come in and talk to me. Sounds awful. I'm going to, let me just pop those on some glue dots. I'm putting the glue dot on the front of it because I want to be able to stick it, if that makes sense. Right. I'm going to pop that there. That one there. I've got to, I find it very hard to be random. I don't know about anybody else. Right, I'm going to pop that on with some dimensionals, which I've amazingly got to hand. Probably more than we need. Nearly forgot that bit there. So, sort of central. Add that with plenty of wet glue. And then I think I may do, oh, I think that's just so pretty. I may add that on with dimensionals as well. Use every last bit. I love my tape pick tool. It's that. Is that going on straight as well? Lovely. You need to arrange these as well. Now, actually, I don't know. See, it's this random. Do we need that? I'm not sure that we do actually. Maybe they need to be sort of hidden a little bit. No, actually I think I'm going to use those for a different project. If I was decisive, I think I'd be dangerous. I think I prefer that just like that. So see if we can eke any more glue out of this bottle. Oh yes. And then finishing touch is my iridescent rhinestones. So I think we might actually put a couple up there as well. Oh, I like that. What do you think? Do you think I should have put those on? That was my original, and that's the one today. Anyway, that is it for today. Thank you so much for joining me. I've got these to use for another project, and I will be back soon to share another project, hopefully. Take care. Behave yourself. Bye for now.